there's a remarkable 14th century church in the old city of Jerusalem, just inside the Sheep's Gate, or it's called the Lion's Gate, or St. Stephen's Gate. And it's more or less adjacent to the Notre Dame convent that belongs to the Sisters of Zion. Now, this church was built by the Crusaders, and it was named St. Anne's Church in honor of Anne, who was believed to be the name of the mother of Mary. So Anne and her husband Joachim, it is believed, lived there, and that's where Mary was born. As a matter of fact, underneath the St. Anne's Church, there's a grotto that has a place there where they say that Mary was born. It's tradition, but pretty strong one. It's been around for a few centuries. And the interesting thing about this church, I mean, it's a beautiful church inside a basilica, and there's a marvelous acoustic that is there. We heard a brother from the Maronite Church who their place of worship more or less belongs to them, and he chanted a carol of some kind, and it was like amazing, just the acoustics in that place. Now, between the convent and this St. Anne's Church, there are the ruins of the Pool of Bethesda. Remember from John chapter 5, Jesus went there. And this was a place of healing, one of the sacred places, if you will, of the first century. And it's the only known place that we have reference to in the Bible where people would go and get healed. The angel would trouble the waters, the first one in would be healed. And we don't know how often that happened, but anyway, that was the deal. Now, Jesus enters there and he sees this man who had been lame, crippled for 38 years, which is far too long, isn't it? To have something true about you that you don't want to be true. So for 38 years, he's there. He's been crippled, and now he's there at this pool. And Jesus came in and saw him, and the Bible says he knew that the man, how long that he'd been a long time that he had been lame. And so he asked him, "Do you want to be made well?" Which, well, it's kind of a, well, duh, I'm not, look where I am. But he said, well, he answered according to the level of faith he could possibly have. It never entered his head that somebody would speak the word to him and that he would get up and walk. But so Jesus said, what do you want to be made well? And he goes, well, I just need to get help getting in the pool. People get down there before I do. And the Lord just told him, rise, take up your bed and walk. So the Lord shortcutted that whole thing, and I imagine that the pool emptied out long before it was destroyed, like in AD 70, because people thought, well, hey, a lot of competition here to enter the water, but here's a man who speaks the word, and you're healed. And I imagine there are those who came after the Lord, and I wonder, how many were healed. But for sure, that pool was no longer needed. Not even, we don't know if it continued to function or not, but in any event, the healer, the great physician, had arrived, and this man was healed. So, brother and sister, let's just remember that Jesus can take us to places beyond our current faith level. That man certainly got himself in trouble as he did what the Lord told him to do: take up his bed and walk. And when he came out of that area where the pool was, he would have crossed this little pathway or road, which we call now the Via Dolorosa, and he would have entered the northern entrance into the Temple Mount. So he got in trouble right away. It's interesting that he didn't even know that it was Jesus that had done it. He didn't know his name. And so he found out, the Lord came to him, talked to him, you know, sin, lest the worst thing come upon you. And so then was able to identify it as Jesus that had done that. And then, of course, the Pharisees decided that, well, this is great. The guy got healed instead of waiting for the pool, so let's kill Jesus. So there's a rejection there that happens even when Jesus does this remarkable thing. And yet he is today still, is he not, the great healer, the great physician? And thank God that it was demonstrated on this day. And today, that pool is just ruins. The pool had actually like two pools. There were five sides, four sides, and then one down the middle, and it was covered. And so it was a big place. It could have had a lot of people that were there. And the Lord just showed them a new way. It's the way of Jesus, and aren't you glad that we don't have to go to a place? We don't need a pilgrimage or a place to go to. Jesus heals us wherever we are because He is the physician. So the emphasis has gone from a place to a person, the Lord our healer.